The March of the Blades, written in 2013. I'm a twin-bladed chap. I have been most of my life, except way back in my teens when I used a single-blade razor like my father. Back then, the replacement blades came in a plastic 5-blade dispenser, and when pushed out of the dispenser, were individually wrapped in greased paper. Putting in a fresh blade as a teenager, I could scrape away at my face, slicing off the light stubble along with the tops of various pimples and abrasions. I would swill my face afterwards in cold water and then look at it in the mirror as gradually the seepages of blood from the various nicks began to form all over it. A nearly daily occurrence. The single blades were made by an internationally known company. As technology progressed, the company produced a built-in twin-bladed razor, which was a vast improvement on the slice-your-face individual single blades. It also had a lubrication strip on it, and overall was a product perfectly fit for purpose, and one I have, for the main, used ever since. In time, though, the company needed people to buy even more of their products, so they launched a triple-bladed version. Through the power of seductive advertising, men were persuaded that a twin-bladed razor was no longer good enough. If they valued themselves and wished to obtain the attention of attractive partners, they should now buy a triple-bladed razor. Many men fell for the advertising. I tried one once, but found it not much better than my twin blade, which was much cheaper, and so I stuck with that. The triple blade sold well, but then, in time, the company needed people to buy even more of their products, so they launched a 4-bladed razor. The word 4 isn't particularly sexy or attractive, so they called the new product the Quattro. Once again, advertising and marketing persuaded men that they were worth so much more than just a triple-bladed razor, and that even more attractive partners would be available to them if they invested in the new Quattro. Whether that was actually the case, well, who knows. Recently, my last twin-bladed razor was becoming blunt, and I asked my wife if she could buy me some fresh blades whilst out shopping. For whatever reason, possibly as it was on offer, my wife came home with the company's latest product, a razor containing 5 blades. Now, the word 5 is no more sexy or attractive than the word 4, so on this occasion the marketing people have decided in their wisdom to call this new razor the Fusion Pro Glide. I'm not sure what has fused with what in this product, and as for Pro Glide, well, I presume the twin, triple and quattro versions still must have been producing a nano's worth of drag coefficient across the male face, and that this has now been eliminated using Pro Glide technology. I had never seen this product before and have no idea what advertising slogan was used to promote it. No doubt, though, today's younger men are still being persuaded that purchase of this product will make them even more attractive to partners who in turn are even more attractive to be with. Tracing this hyperbole back to the 1970s when I first started shaving, it makes me realise that by this rationale, back then we must have been all depressingly ugly. Recently, I used the Fusion Pro Glide for the first time. It's a very heavy product, much heavier than my reliable twin blade. I presume this gives the user some spurious reassurance of quality. Then I came to shave with it. The problem is, to layer 5 blades, one on top of the other, makes the shaving head extremely thick. So thick, in fact, that I could not get it to make contact with those awkward-to-reach hairs just under my nostrils, despite bending my nose almost flat against my face. In addition, the 5 blades are so rapacious in scraping away every fraction of facial hair. They scraped off the top layers of my skin around my chin, and now I have red pimples there, much reminiscent of the ones I had back as a teenager. The Fusion Pro Glide has left my face in no better condition than the single blade did back in the 1970s. So that has been the development of razor blades in my experience. The power of marketing to make people dissatisfied with what they have and to create in them a flawed desire that happiness will be achieved by the addition of a further blade scraping their stubble in the morning. The first step from single to twin blade was a good one. So possibly was the third. But after that, in my opinion, it was just marketing. Eventually we arrive at the Fusion Pro Glide, a product that is too thick to get into all the nooks and crannies of the human face. Well, mine at least. I wonder where they will go next to sell more products. Maybe we will go full circle and return to a single blade, though no doubt it will no longer be made of steel, but will be something like the titanium monoglide, as individual as you are. I'm so glad I did not succumb to the seductive allure of this advertising. Sometimes I affectionately call my wife Gillette, because she's the best a man can get. Spruce Casts, an eclectic collection of anecdotes, reflections and stories by Mark Spruce.